oneness of God and that Muhammad is his messenger. He does the prayer 5 times a day. She pays zakah, which is a charity tax. They fast the month of Ramadan. It's not a tax on charity. I'm going to explain it. And then, that's kind of weird. Like, why are you taxing charity? And then the Hajj, or the pilgrimage to Mecca. So this is Islam, the practice. Okay. Then there is faith, of course. This is the belief system in Islam. There are 6 articles of faith, which we'll be talking about in this course. Belief in God, His angels, His books, His messengers, the last day, divine decree. By the way, I mean, it's good that you're taking notes, but in addition, I'll try to, if you guys are on the email list, you should be on the email list. But if you're not, maybe one of the brothers can have a sign-up sheet there for people who aren't on the email list to make sure they're on there. Because we will be, sending announcements, and these presentations we're uploading to the website for the course as well. So, going back, this is what we'll be talking about in this class. Just the very basic practice of basic faith. But also a big component, which is sort of the underlying heart of the whole tradition, is a spiritual center of trying to get closer and closer to God, reflecting deeper and deeper on God, and having this leading to a beautiful character. Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, he said, I was sent to perfect the best of character, or the best of etiquette and manners. So this is a big part of Islam as well. Not just to be knowledgeable, but to be respectful. And then finally, the Sharia, which is something that you hear a lot in the news. But Sharia basically is just talking about the law as it is in the holy book of the Quran, and the sayings and teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. So some of these may be coming up in the classes, but directly we'll be tackling those. So any questions about this slide, and then we'll take a break, inshallah. He said, I've heard that music is not liked in Islam. So basically, the music that is usually associated with drinking and women and sensual sort of inflaming the senses, this kind of thing. This is what there's a consensus by the scholars that a person should not listen to. The majority of Muslim scholars, they would say that music can distract you from your purpose, and so they limit it to percussion music. But then there's a minority of scholars actually who say that as long as the lyrics are something positive, that it's okay. But that's a more kind of legalistic question. We can talk about it more, inshallah. Okay, but thank you for the question. But any questions about this particular faith and practice here? Yes? Yes, sir.
Going back with Abraham and Moses, participate in these 7 pillars as well?
So, for example, in the Bible, you'll have references to prayer, to the Jews would call zadak, which is like charity. You have fasting. Pilgrimage to Mecca, not in the biblical sources themselves, but there are Islamic sources that say that before the idols became surrounded the Kaaba and in the Kaaba, that Jews were actually going there for pilgrimage because it was also Abraham's son, Ishmael, there. However, what you will see in the course is there's a very specific form that we take when we do the formal prayer, for example. And there's a specific, let's say, for example, fasting. It's not just any time. It's the month of Ramadan, which is the 9th. So, but the general teaching is pretty much, again, it's a universal. But you will find the specifics, there will be a more concretization or crystallization of what it means in translation of life. Inshallah. Okay, so I don't know whose kids are on that side, but I don't know if they're okay or not. But inshallah. Okay, any other questions about this? Yes, over here. Sure. So the messengers is one of the important beliefs. These are human beings. We don't give divinity to any of them, including the Prophet Muhammad himself. However, they have been entrusted with a message from God to deliver to, in most cases, to their specific tribesmen, and in the case of Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, to all of mankind. So this is more than just like having a feeling that God is talking to you, or feeling inspired, or thinking. It's actually like receiving a book over time, or it's like revelation from God, and you give it to the people. This is the messenger. So it's kind of like prophet. But when we get to this part of the course, I'll explain the difference in our terminology as well. All right. So, okay. So we're going to move on, inshallah, to this, I believe, is the last slide. So the Muslims are very diverse. We started with that. Here at this mosque and most mosques in America, you'll find more than 50 different countries of origin. Globally, there are 1.5 billion Muslims. We said already 20% of them are Arab, but the largest concentration of Muslims would be in South Asia and Southeast Asia, meaning India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, of course, is the single largest Muslim population there, Malaysia, but then also all throughout Africa, whether you're talking about going from West Africa all the way to North and East Africa, and even going a little bit towards Sub-Saharan Africa as well. Central Asia, this would be all of those countries that became countries after the fall of the Soviet Union, but also we can lump Afghanistan into Central Asia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, all those, it's just all pretty much Muslim there. Then of course the Balkans, many of you of course still remember what happened in the 90s in Bosnia. So this is also a lot of Muslims, and of course, Turkey is straddling both Europe and Asia there. It is also a very quickly growing minority in Europe. This is the theme of a lot of sort of there's actually a new term now, Islamophobic kind of speech, especially in Europe. We are very blessed here in America. It's a land of immigrants. People are very open and friendly as long as you don't trespass someone else's rights, do whatever you want to do type thing. But the French, for example, I don't want to make enemies with any French people in here or anything like that. But they have a particular idea, at least some of them, that to be French means this and means nothing else. So it's like, how do you include a Moroccan or Algerian immigrant into your society as a full sort of participatory member? Of course, you saw the very unfortunate incidents that happened. It was in Finland, right? Was it Finland? Where the sort of supremacist type person, was it Finland itself? Was it? Norway, okay. I always get them mixed up. Okay. So it's Norway. So you have a lot of kind of pressures going on. Some of that is actually coming now, of course, to America as well, which, to be honest, is one of the reasons why we have this class. Instead of engaging in fights and arguments, we just want to say, from the Muslim perspective, this is what our religion is, and then people can do with that whatever they want to do. So Islam in America, we really have to start with the African American Muslim experience, because we just said that a large population of Muslims in West Africa. So the slaves that were brought here to the United States primarily are from West Africa, so you would expect, well, many of those slaves were probably Muslim. And so how many of you guys have read the book Roots or seen the movie Roots? Right? So the African American experience, African American Muslim experience is very interesting. There is really no hard science way of saying how much percent of the slaves that were brought here were Muslim. Some of the historians have said about 20%. I'm not sure exactly how they calculate that. Probably they look at certain current demographic realities and try to make approximations. But so 20% of